Investor fraud can happen to any of us, not just the gullible or uneducated. We're talking doctors, accountants, MBAs, rocket scientists. Everything we spend our whole lives working for. Pension plans, endowments, gone. We want to believe it could never happen to us. We want to believe that our money is safe. The truth is, there's a lot of people out there who want our money, and they're watching us. That's why Investors Watchdog is watching them.
Pat's clearly knowledgeable about investment fraud, but his best attribute is the ability to convey his energy and enthusiasm for the subject.
I've seen him speak at least 2 or 3 times now, and he's very good. He's a very dynamic speaker.
You know, you're not bored while you're listening to Pat, which is something that's very helpful anytime you're planning a CLE or a conference, or anytime you're attending a conference.
The unique thing about Pat are the stories that he brings, real specifics about how fraud is committed. Again, actual things that have happened, whether it be in recent history or further back.
He has a diverse range of experiences. He's seen fraud from all angles.
He's got a lot of great visuals, a lot of great stories.
The stories were, sometimes can be funny, they're very entertaining, but they're also a real reminder of how fraud happens.
Celebrities like Al Pacino and Uma Thurman, they have lots of power and resources. They have advisors who tell them where to invest their money, and these are people who are affected by some of these scams that are out there, and I thought that was very interesting.
You can see this effect with NFL quarterbacks. Let's take Tom Brady, for example. Jonah Lair, in his book How We Decide, used Brady as an example. Now, when Brady drops back to pass, he has less than 4 seconds to get rid of the ball, or he's going to receive a possibly career-ending blow, or he's at least going to be buried underneath about 1,000 pounds of very stinky human flesh. So he's got less than 4 seconds. He's got 4 receivers potentially, running routes of different lengths and different shapes to different parts of the field. And he has to decide which one he's going to throw to. He does not have time to calculate which is the best. So he sees receiver number 1. He sees receiver number 2, number 3, number 4. He gets a good feeling or a bad feeling about each. And that's how he decides. But keep in mind, he doesn't just have to throw to where these guys are. He has to throw the ball to where they're going to be in the time that it takes the ball to fly there. And so there's no time for calculation. If he looks at receiver number 1, he gets a bad feeling, he doesn't throw. If he looks at receiver number 2, he gets a bad feeling, he doesn't throw. When he looks at receiver number 3, he has a flood of good emotion, he releases the ball, touchdown, MVP, Super Bowl. And so you see what's happening. His emotional brain has sent forth reliable signals on which he can act. But it's only able to do so because he has trained it through the study of film, taking thousands of practice snaps, through every snap he's ever taken in the NFL, and college, and high school, and most especially through every interception he's ever thrown, through every incompletion he's ever thrown. He has trained his brain, his emotional brain, to respond accurately, and that's what you need to do. So when I tell you you need to become students of financial fraud, it's so that your emotional brain can react like a quarterback in the pocket.
Working with Pat and Investors Watchdog was easy. I mean, they made it easy. We reached out to them to have Pat as a speaker, and they basically, did the rest.
They were very professional. They did a great job. The communication back and forth, preparing for the presentation was very easy. They were very timely with all of their responses, and when Pat and his team got there, they had everything set up perfectly.
The team took care of all aspects of scheduling. They custom tailored the talk to the topics that I needed covered.
Pat was able to really tailor the presentation to what we were looking for.
We're a group of financial planners, and he made sure that we had some resources available to us where we could check out some, whether it's an investment opportunity that someone comes to us with, whether it's an advisor that we don't think is up and up, and he gave us some things to look for, some red flags that we could take back to our clients.
I think the biggest takeaway for the students, especially those not getting into wealth management, is that investment fraud matters for everyone.
He told us how to protect ourselves on the individual level, and told us stories about fraud, and everyone can kind of relate, because even if you haven't been personally affected, you know people who have.
Pat's kind of style as to how he speaks, really got the audience involved, and it was very obvious they liked it because afterwards they all came up and they were speaking to him and asking questions, and we got a lot of good comments.
Overall, I would plan to use Pat as a speaker in my class semester after semester. In fact, Pat's become a useful sounding board for some of my academic research ideas as well.
There's a lot of speakers out there who have a great message and just don't know how to present it, and that's not the case with Pat. Pat does both.
Pat could convey his excitement for the subject to a bunch of college students at 8 a.m., many of whom haven't even considered working yet, let alone retirement. I can't imagine an audience that wouldn't appreciate what he has to offer.
Investment. It's our way of preparing for a better tomorrow, for ourselves, for our families, for future generations. That's why we're devoted to helping you protect your investments. Because it's your money, it's your future, and the return of your investment is just as important as the return on that investment.